I'm here today with Janice Porter. And Janice is someone who is all about relationships, not about the Tinder kind, but the business kind.
Love
She
it.
has an innate curiosity, which she leveraged into building business relationships, and she teaches other people how to do the same thing. Her passion is working with people who want to build their businesses through relationship marketing and networking. And I just love this because I'm all about networking. And she does that using both online and offline strategies. LinkedIn training is a huge part of Janice's business, and that's actually how we initially connected. She believes that all business professionals need to have a magnetic LinkedIn profile. We're going to talk about that. And that LinkedIn is the platform for attracting new clients, strategic partners, and referrals. So let's dive in. And first of all, I want to congratulate you on your podcast, which is incredibly, um, it's incredibly long lasting, and you're so consistent with it. Relationships Rule is the name of your podcast. And so tell everybody, you just told me, but how many episodes have you published?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your podcast, Tracy. It's a pleasure and a privilege. I've been doing my podcast for a while, and I just recorded this morning my 346th episode. I think you were my 345th episode. So, yeah, I've been pretty consistent. Every week it drops on a Tuesday. And what I love about it is that I get to meet so many interesting people. And because I am naturally curious, I get to ask them lots of questions and learn about them and their businesses. So, and that's actually a big part of my business because I'm networking through my podcast and meeting people who know people and also who need some of the things that I have to offer. So it's amazing how it works, but it's great.
I agree with you 100%. The best part about having a podcast is meeting interesting people.
Right.
I've gotten to have conversations with people who I um I don't know that I could ever have just like would I just call them up and say, "Hello, you don't know me. Let's have coffee." But it's possible to invite people onto a podcast, and
Right.
it's
Everyone loves
been,
to talk about themselves, right?
yeah, and about what they're doing and the cool stuff that they do. And I've learned so much from my podcast guests. So
I agree.
super fun. How did you come to LinkedIn as a thing? What led you up to that?
Well, I think I've been searching for a while because I had gone from, working a contract job that lasted me through my daughter going into high school and through high school, which was great because I had my own timeline. I could be flexible, but that ended, and I had to figure out what to do with myself. I knew I didn't want a 9 to 5 job, so it was a process of, what's out there, and it all started with networking and. I did a few things along the way, but then in around, I think it was 2011, 2012, somebody introduced me to LinkedIn. I was walking with a friend one day and I said, "What is this LinkedIn thing
That's a
anyway?"
long time ago.
Yeah, but what's even stranger is that when I went and looked at LinkedIn, I was already on the platform and I had joined back in 2004, I think, which is just after it opened, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I didn't do anything.
I don't think
So
I even knew that it goes back that far.
yeah,
I didn't look.
2003, I think is when it,
Wow.
it first started. But initially it was a job recruiting kind of
Hmm.
platform. It's definitely morphed and changed since then. But anyway, this friend of mine said to me, "You should meet this guy, Clarence. He'll tell you all about it. He helped me immensely." So I met with Clarence, and Clarence was this young tech guy who just loved sharing what he had learned. And I had a couple of sessions with him, and during that time, the light bulb went on for me in that my first iteration in the real world was teaching elementary school. So I've always been a teacher, and I saw that this piece of LinkedIn, I could start teaching others how to use it because it worked for me. It was linear, it was business focused, it was easy to teach. It wasn't that Facebook thing that was out there at the time that you had to, tell everyone what you had for dinner and which restaurant you went to, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. And so that's how it started. Long story short.
Um, and you are a teacher. That
Hmm.
it is a perfect thing. And I think, I mean, I spend a fair bit of time on LinkedIn. I like that platform.
Hmm.
Um, and it's interesting because I think it differs, well, quite dramatically from Facebook in many ways. But one of the things is that you are expected to have a profile there that means something, like not like on Facebook where you put in who you're in a relationship with or,
Right,
where
right.
you went to high school, but it's a kind of very interesting um 21st century kind of CV or resume that we do on LinkedIn.
Well, okay, so that's a good comment that you just made because it used to be resume driven when it was job related. Recruiters were the only people really on there, and if you are looking for a job, you would put up a profile. But it's so different now. Um, I think it changed a lot during COVID because
Mm,
people realized that their life was now more online and there was only, there were different platforms and where do I go? What do I do? And maybe I could use this analogy to share with you and your listeners that I've used for a long time, but it kind of makes sense in that, the big four there was Facebook, now Instagram, Twitter, which is now X, and LinkedIn. So I lump Facebook and Instagram were are more of the well, let's start with Facebook. Facebook's like the backyard barbecue. It's right.
yeah.
You're having a couple of beer, you're talking to your friends. What movie did you see last week? Which restaurant did you go to? Very casual. It's turned into more than that as well, but it's also gotten overrun. Okay. And a lot of people started to move from there during COVID onto LinkedIn, but you could tell who those people were because they were still using emojis and doing the things that they did on Facebook. And then Instagram, which is lifestyle. But is it real life or is it just pretend life? We don't really know. And so for me, I'm like a voyeur on there. I look at celebrities, I look at cooking, recipes, I look at design, and now I'm into on Instagram. There's a lot of art stuff on there where they're teaching you how to draw, and I'm doing this with my granddaughter, and it's so much fun. So it's that kind of thing. Twitter was the news thing. It was the quick. I don't know if you remember a show back in the 80s, I think it was called, maybe not, I'm aging myself, Cheers. And people would drop into Sam's bar on the way home from work. And that's the way Twitter used to be before it got very political and then turned into X and all of that stuff. But it was like a quick hits, right? And then LinkedIn. LinkedIn was all by itself. LinkedIn was instead of the backyard barbecue, it was the charity dinner, the cocktail party, the wedding reception. You had to be dressed a little better. You weren't having beer anymore. You were having prosecco or
Yeah.
champagne, and you had to speak a little more formally. And that's kind of the difference. But the major thing is that it is, I think, a necessary place to be if you're in business. Mainly because if I meet you, I Google you, and what comes up really high in the results is LinkedIn because
Right.
it's indexed by Google 40% more or something than others. Now, of course, that's changing a little bit because of AI. And the first few responses to any Google are AI created, but it still comes up in that top 5 to 6, I think. So if it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's still going to show up. So you may
Yeah.
as well give a good first impression. That's my
Oh, I
take.
agree completely.
Yeah.
Um, and so when you work with someone on
Mhm.
their profile, and I'm very grateful you had a look at my profile and threw some quick crumbs at me about things to things to think about changing. But um, It's interesting because I think it exposes a huge layer of where people are holding back, um, holding back from um, announcing what their strengths are, um, holding
Oh,
back
interesting.
from saying plainly what they can do to help other people. And I mean, it's an interesting crossover of your world and mine in terms of where I'm also working with people to um, elevate their self-concept, and not necessarily people who walk around with a low self-esteem,
Right.
but
Right. Leaders and yeah.
wherever
Yeah.
you are, whatever kind of leadership role you're in, there is something holding you back from the next expansion that you would otherwise do, because that's how we're made. And for
Right.
some people, it's just a kind of a fun, it's the fun of life to expand into, your maximum potential, or there is no maximum, your next
Right. To
level,
grow and yeah. Yeah.
and it's not a question of urgency, or like I can't land a job interview because I come across as having low self-esteem. It's everybody. It's the president of a company. It's an
Yeah.
entrepreneur making 10 figures that they they can't quite crack the next piece.
Hmm. Well, I know that what you do is way deeper than doing LinkedIn profiles and in getting into the heart of who somebody is and to be the best that they can be. They have to learn and understand, that how they are seen in the world and how they come across in the world. Um, I think one of the biggest misnomers about the LinkedIn profile, in particular, the biggest section, which is okay. So there's the first impression, which is what I call above the fold. There's your
Right.
banner, there's your headline. So that's the quick hit on who you are and what you do and who you serve. Then the next piece just below the fold is your about section. It's And that's where the biggest misnomer is, that it has to be still your resume, and it doesn't. It shouldn't be, in fact. But but there's kind of two ways to look at it. If you're in business for yourself, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a commission salesperson, and or a financial plan, people that help and serve service industries, I guess specifically. Um, and any kind of business, even like your business, what you do, you serve leaders, but um you're in business for yourself. So I don't want to have, okay, you no, stop, Janice. Take a breath. Okay. You need the people that you can serve be attracted to your
Right.
profile and to your about section by the things that you say that you help them with. What are their pain points? Um, what are they struggling with? What solutions do you bring to the table? Not based on, I'm this, I'm that, I have this degree, I have that, but based on the solutions that you bring that will, that are client focused. So you have to talk in a different way. And I think some of the corporate leaders, it's different. It's a little bit different. It does need to show their expertise, right, in the areas, but it's still about what comes through all of that is, are you heart centered? Or are you a numbers person? Is it transactional? Is it relational, right? All of those things have to come in that one piece. And so that's my most fun part of what I do with profiles with people, is get into their head a little bit and sort of twist what they're saying so that it's coming across more as a value centric piece than a resume.
This is what you were um, referring to about having a magnetic profile.
Yeah, yeah,
It's what will
definitely.
magnetize the exact right people. to
Yeah,
you.
it's going to exactly attract the right people and repel the right people because you can't serve everybody. And so it will just sift and sort so that the right people will come your way. And then you get to have those conversations that will lead or not lead to working with
You
you,
just said
right?
something so interesting, and I'm going to jump on it because the idea of creating a profile that repels some people would have
Yeah.
been such a horrifying idea to me. I understand it completely now, but that is actually a really high level way of looking at it. And I'm sure some people are listening who say, I don't even understand why I would ever want to repel anybody. But you
Yeah.
you go, say what that means for you.
Well, it's not that you're trying to say things to turn people away. It's just that what you're saying will attract the right people. So if I'm not attracted to that, obviously I'm not going to go further. And that was just a generic, it'll repel them. Just the magnet, right? It attracts or it repels. And that's kind of where I was coming from there.
Well, I would um, totally take that and run with it because I think I think, okay, I'll tell you, I am also a teacher. I was not a school teacher, but I've
Hmm.
been a teacher of everything I've ever learned in my life.
Sure.
I was a Hebrew school teacher. I was a violin teacher. I've been a homeopathy teacher. I've taught my own modality, Bach flower alchemy.
That's one of your
I love
gifts. That's your
teaching.
gift. Yeah, let's
I
check you out.
love teaching, but my gift, in a way, is to make sure that everyone who's listening to me takes something away
Mm,
when I do a webinar or when I do a live stream. I used to work a great deal with stepmoms in the online space, and I've done just hundreds of live streams. And I always want to make sure that I say something for everybody. I say
mhm.
something that everyone can digest. And in the course of my business training with other people who trained me, I really
Yeah.
understood that that is a it's a great teaching model, but it's not a
Mhm.
great marketing model. It's not a great
Mhm.
business model.
Mhm.
I'm diluting the most potent stuff that I have to say to make
Yes.
sure that the average person understands and follows what I'm talking about. And that will never attract the client who wants the pinnacle of what I have to offer, which
Yeah,
is
that's great.
understood by very few people finally, because I'm way up there.
Yeah.
And and that's the truth of it. And it's still really hard for me. I still catch myself um, diluting a little bit what I really want to say, because it's so easy to talk for me at the like mass marketing level. It's easy. I can roll out of bed and talk to people at that level. And
But those
when
aren't the clients that you want.
those are not the
No.
clients that I
Yeah.
want. It's not that I actually want to say go away, but
Right.
but you have to say go away. In a way, you have to say this is not for you. And that's not saying that like don't come along and listen, I'm going to close the door. But here's the level that I'm going to talk at. And if that elevates you in some way that
Yeah.
you didn't understand any of it, but you're so intrigued that you want to keep following,
Yeah.
that would be great because you'll catch up at some point. But yes, you have to almost intentionally repel people who are going to say, what is that? I don't understand it. I'm moving on to the next thing. And
Yeah, that's interesting. That's and that also would, I think, really affect where you network, who you network with, because that's going to be a waste of time if you're in the wrong place.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've, um, just about being in the wrong place. It's about, for me, it's about, um, uh, the place is an energetic one.
Hmm.
I mean, it
Hmm.
also can be literally, you don't want to go to I'm not going to like Rotary Club meetings or
Right.
something where
Right.
uh, you do have to, certainly physically, you have to know that you're in the right place. But
Hmm.
even physically, I went to three different events in New York last year
Hmm.
in 2025.
Hmm.
Or I guess one of them was at the end of 2024. But it was the first time I'd been to New York in 40 years. Like
Wow.
nothing was drawing me there. And all of a sudden, there were events. And then there was an event in Barcelona that I went to, which was the Science of Consciousness conference. So I was really being intentional about
Mm-hmm.
progressively up leveling the actual room that I was in and the people that I wanted to be having conversations with. And that has continued in my online work um, until now. So
That's
it's both
exciting
in live and online. But
for sure.
I get what you're saying about knowing who you're talking to and who you're having conversations with. Although many of the people I have conversations with turn out to be fabulously interesting, even if I had
Hmm.
no idea that that was going to happen when I
Well,
hooked up with them.
okay. Are you referring to those conferences or just anywhere?
I'm referring to, I do what you do. Like I talk to people and they know other people and they connect
Right.
me with
That's what I
people
was
and
just going to
I
say.
get on
Yeah.
a call with people and sometimes I look at their profile or I look at
Hmm.
who they are and I think, I don't remember why I'm supposed to talk to this person, but I have booked a
Yes.
20-minute
Yes.
connection call. And um, in general, I'm blown away by how interesting and how aligned people are.
Yes, and I think that's the key is to be open and to feel, in your case, you talk about energies that were on the right, energy levels and or frequency. And it's to know that it may not be that person, but it could be someone they lead you to.
Right.
That's the fun part too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're a great networker because that's a high level networking attitude to that
Totally.
everybody
Totally.
knows someone and
Yeah.
it's a method of synchronicity, of like
Well,
running your business on synchronicity.
Well, and like something that I'm always talking about when it comes to LinkedIn with that my clients and well, people just generally that I network with and talk to, they don't realize the um, the power that they have uh, in a database on LinkedIn, and they're not using it as such. And so it's not just about your profile. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the hook that will allow people who come to you to, if they do it properly, they look for those common connection points, the rapport building pieces that they can get from your profile, which will then help that first conversation that you have with them. But I mean, it's just like there's so many people on there, right? And you have, let's see, you have approximately 1,500 people that you're connected to on LinkedIn. And that's no small change. I mean, when was the last time you talked to them? So some are not going to go by the wayside. Some are going to be people that you want to re-engage with. And that's a great place for people to start using the platform because they have already connected with them. So move from there. But it's not just your connections, it's their connections and
Right.
their strategies around using LinkedIn in that regard that will help you move you forward into more circles of people that you want to be in. And I would think, Tracy, in your business, and basically from what you just said, is you don't need a lot of people, you need the right people.
Yeah.
So you're going to spend more time on that investigative process than you do selling, let's say, right? Because when you
Yeah.
get the right people, it would be a good hit and a good prospect, good client that you would get.
I, I'm not going to say I get distressed because I don't spend any time thinking about it, but you know, you get a message from someone that you've accepted their
Connection
friend
request.
request or whatever, and the very first thing that you hear from them is a stock message about what they're selling, and I just think, really?
They don't know any
Really?
different. Yeah, there's those that don't know any different, and then there's those that are more transactional, and they're doing it by the numbers,
Just by the
right?
numbers, I know that I've been also approached by people who are, selling various programs of like, we'll take care of all the interactions and we'll just put you out to, 20,000 people a day or a week or whatever the limit is. And we'll filter all the responses and only, hook you up with the people who have interest. And I guess on some level, there's a numbers game. I mean, in 100,000 people, there might be one, you might win the lottery, but oh my gosh, it's not a way that I want to live or do business.
It's also something to be very cautious about too, if you ever um, get so curious that you want to try it, because they're using third-party tools, and LinkedIn will shut you down because unless they're in your profile, they can't reach out to people on your behalf. And that's illegal. And they are shutting people down more and more for that. So it's not a good
Well,
practice.
and so they should, because it's just
Yeah.
spam. I mean, I
Yeah,
do
exactly.
sometimes report things as
Yeah.
spam because
So do
I'm
I.
annoyed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, give us a couple of the top tips that you tell people off the cuff or when you're doing a public seminar or something.
About what? The profile
Well,
or
where
about using LinkedIn?
maybe let's just say about using LinkedIn. Like, what are some sort of
Okay.
hidden or unknown things that people don't think about
Well,
using?
one of the things that people don't think about using very often is video messaging or
Mm,
even voice messaging. So, on LinkedIn where you have a menu topic at the top that says messaging. So when you click and you go to your LinkedIn messages,
hmm.
you'll see the names and whatever. If somebody has video messaged you, it's going to stand out. If someone has voice messaged you, you'll see the voice recording thing. And both of those things, either of those things, is much better as a communication tool because you can hear the person's voice, you can see their reactions or whatever. And if you've never met them before, or if you've just met them and they're saying thank you, you get to see and hear them it's better than a text message. It's just better. Now, you can only actually do it from your phone, but it does go on all of your devices when you do it. But it's something that makes you stand out from the crowd. Another thing that I think isn't used very often is, and this is an example for when you were perhaps in Barcelona or at those events in New York, you can have on your phone the LinkedIn app and very easily get to there's a QR code that allows people to copy from their phone and connect with you on LinkedIn. And that's a tool that is great for in person. But also, if you want to be in control rather than have them reach out to you, you can say, hey, do you have your phone? Do you have LinkedIn on your phone? Can you bring it up? And as soon as they go open it, it's on their home page and they click in their search bar, their QR code will come up and now you can take a picture of it or you can do it on your phone. So now you've got control of connecting to them. I think that's important too.
Newfangled
Easy,
devices.
quick. Yeah, but things that people don't do and they can make a difference. I once I saw something come up on my LinkedIn from this gentleman that used to be a client of mine, and I hadn't talked to him for a while. So I sent him a video message on LinkedIn because this is where I saw his post or something. And he messaged me back, how did you do that? And then immediately figured it out and sent me one. And I think he's probably using it all the time now because it's just that one extra touch that shows that it just better to see you than to I don't like doing video off the cuff on my phone myself, but I'll do it occasionally just to get the attention of that person.
I like that a lot, actually. Although I'm not somebody who loves to, I mean, for me, it's sometimes quicker to just see the message than to hear
Mm,
somebody talking. but I think if there's value in what you're saying,
Yes.
if there's
Yes.
actual value in what you're saying, then
Hmm.
it would be many times more impactful to
Yes. To
have
have
it
it.
be a video for sure than you're not doing videos saying we have a special on hamburgers this week. Are
Yes.
you in the market for hamburgers? Oh my goodness. Well, Janice, we could go on and on because LinkedIn is a very, very deep rabbit hole, but this was fabulous. And I just love that you're really helping people to up level it's not just their LinkedIn presence, but really to step into an aligned self concept, of who they're serving and what they actually do,
Mhm.
and to have to bring that, front and center and remember um, that you are doing something quite valuable and unique, actually, and
Aw,
that
thank
it's
you.
worth saying it. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, my pleasure. I love it. I love showing people, because I'm a teacher, by right in my heart. And it's like, what? You're not doing that? Let me show you how.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. There's very untapped things. There's strategies around how to message people, how to reach out to the right people, who to search for. All of those things can be useful and be part of marketing in your business as well. Without
And
without marketing, without.
right.
Right. I see LinkedIn as a relationship marketing tool, a relationship building tool, not a selling tool.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
goodness. That's so aligned with how I think. I mean, business is so much more enjoyable. It's more rewarding and fulfilling when it's about making relationships with people and not about churning out content or
I know
whatever.
that's,
Really, it's just about having conversations. I spend so much of my time in conversation with people because that's what I love to do. And
yeah,
as you said, people all know people and
that's right.
they end up sending other people. So, Janice, where can people find you on LinkedIn, right?
Yep. LinkedIn/Janice Porter. They can find me there. And if they do and want to talk, please, I'm asking them to say where they met me on Tracy's podcast. And also my website, janiceporter.com. There's lots of information there. And it's Janice@janiceporter.com if they want to reach out.
Thank you so much for doing this.
My
You're
pleasure.
the expert's expert. I'm really happy that you made time to talk to us. Thank you,
Uh,
Janice.
Anytime. Thank you.